Good afternoon. Today is Sunday, June 30th, 2024, a special meeting of the Newburgh Enlarged City School District. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll take the pledge. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Bello?
Here.
Ms. Boucher?
Here.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Here.
Mr. Doré?
Present.
Mr. Howard?
Present.
Mr. Levenstein?
Here.
Ms. Politi?
Here.
Mr. Stewart?
Before we move into item 2, Ms. Bello is recognized by the chair. She would like to make a statement.
I want to state for the record that I attend this meeting to fulfill my responsibility of a sitting member of this school board. However, I am attending under protest. I want to inform the public that the meeting notice for this meeting did not meet the legal requirements for a video conferenced public notice. The body of the notice did not state that the meeting would be video conferenced. This is a mandatory requirement according to New York State open meetings law. Any items acted upon in this meeting would subject the district to legal jeopardy. Therefore, I make a motion to adjourn.
You have to recognize the motion.
Second.
Motion to adjourn. Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
No.
Mr. Doré?
No.
Mr. Howard?
No.
Mr. Levenstein?
No.
Ms. Politi?
No.
Ms. Bello?
Yes,
That item fails.
I want to state further. You cannot put on a meeting notice that it is live streamed, because live stream is simply a broadcast. If you do not state that it's video conferenced, then video conference means interactive communication. So, since that wasn't dictated on the notice, any interaction with Trustee Politi would be invalid. I just want to make that clear.
Do you want an opinion? Is it a consensus to allow me to give an opinion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can the notice of the meeting be reviewed by the district clerk if it's available right now?
States June 30th, BOE special meeting at 12:30. There's a link, and then it says the June 30th special meeting will also be available at 1801 Central Avenue, Barnum Light, New Jersey, 08006. The public is invited to attend the meeting at both locations.
Trustee Politi, are you at the location indicated in the notice of the meeting?
Yes.
And is Ms. Politi able to be seen and heard by those in attendance at this meeting, including those in the audience? Yes.
No. I cannot see her clearly as I can see any one of these people sitting at this table. And I'm not sure who else is present with her. And it seems like she's having a very difficult time to make herself. The lawyer asked if the audience could see her well. I'm telling you, as a member of the audience, no. And if there's anyone from Newburgh that's there to represent our interests, we don't know because she's got her face slammed into the camera. This is not a proper video conference setup at all.
Thank you.
Ms. Ms. Paletti, could you please speak at a regular tone of voice?
Can you say that one more time?
Can you speak with a regular tone of voice at this time to see whether you are audible to all in the
Yes,
room?
I'm at the location that you told me, and I'm speaking at a regular tone of voice. Can you hear me?
No.
Can you speak?
What can you hear?
People are answering that they can't hear you, which is a little unusual, but
It's difficult to hear you, David, with all of the people in the audience talking at the same time.
Point of process, I'm familiar with the location listed, and it's a gas station. It doesn't appear that Ms. Puli's at a gas station, no.
I see a woman fixing her coffee in the background.
okay, I would ask the board president and any other board members who would like to stand in the very back of the room and see if Ms. Paletti can be heard by you standing in the back of the meeting room.
Point of process, Ms. Puletti, can you verify that you're at a gas station?
I am at Agnello's Cafe and Gas Station.
Doesn't matter. She could have 3,000 people there. She's at the public meeting. Okay, the board members have been given the opportunity to stand in the back of the room to see whether or not you are audible from where you are. Could you please speak clearly and answer the question, what location are you at, and are you able to hear what's being said at this meeting?
I am at Agnello's Cafe, and I'm speaking clearly.
Okay, I'll leave it.
Verify the address of the location.
I'll ask the president of the board to comment about whether or not this is audible in the back of the meeting room.
It was audible to me, it was audible to Mr. Bergerelli.
Say your microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Standing in the back of the room with Mr. Bergerelli, we were able to hear Ms. Politi quite clearly.
On the basis of the representation made by the board president, the visual of Ms. Paletti as it appears on the west wall screen, noting that the right wall screen is on a blue background, harder to see, and that she is audible, it's my opinion that it is lawful for her to participate in the meeting.
Respectfully, Mr. Shaw, a live streaming is a broadcast. There is no interaction with live streaming. Live video conferencing is interactive communication. So if we are going to proceed with the dictates of this public notice, Ms. Politi is prohibited from interacting. And that would be the law. Thank you.
I appreciate your comments, Ms. Bello. I've given my opinion based upon the notice and the ability of those in the room to see and hear Ms. Paletti's comments.
Are you complete, Ms. Bello?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Boucher.
Mr. President, can you please let the public know who called this meeting?
Mr. Bergerelli. Mr. Bergerelli asked for the meeting. All right, moving into item 2, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the Human Resources agenda, I have items 2.1 through 2.3 for your consideration on today.
Thank you, sir. Would anybody like to separate out any of these resolutions?
All of them, please.
Sure. Okay. Item 2.1, could we get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Thank you. Any discussion on 2.1?
John.
Yes.
Levinstein.
Thank you. So I would like to explain the rationale for my votes on these agenda items. It is not because the superintendent may want it. I do not always agree with our superintendents. I generally do my pushback behind the scenes, sometimes successfully, sometimes not. My votes have always been what I feel to be the best to support our students. At this point, the district is without a superintendent of curriculum and instruction, and this summer will be without a deputy superintendent. I have no expectation going forward that the Board of Education, with new leadership, will be filling these positions with qualified personnel. Additionally, as required, the district needs to inform any assistant superintendent or superintendent 1 year before their contract is up if their services will not be needed. So not renewing these contracts means that they are fired. Again, I do not have any expectation that if these two assistant superintendents' contracts are not extended, that the new board will be interested in hiring qualified personnel. So in my judgment, the best way to support our scholars is to vote yes on these resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levinstein. Ms. Boucher?
I want a motion to table this item because the district shared decision-making plan was violated in this interview process, and I have the documentation. Thank you.
Ms. Bello?
I just wanted to,
There's a motion on the floor, so there needs to be a second before any further discussion.
I thought we had a second.
Who was the second?
Mr. Bergarelli?
There's a motion on the floor by Ms. Boucher to table item 2.1.
Oh, I'm sorry.
oh, second.
Motion to table. Oh,
Roll call on the motion to table 2.1. Mr. DeRay,
no.
Mr. Howard,
No.
Mr. Levinstein,
No.
Ms. Politi,
No.
Ms. Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli.
No.
Motion to table fails.
Okay. I want everybody to understand that what Trustee Boucher just said is the law, according to the New York State Commissioner. So if we proceed with this, anyone that votes in favor of this will be in violation of their oath of office, and they will betray the public trust.
You done?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it the consent of the board members for me to give a legal opinion about the comments of Ms. Bello?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure what you were referring to or Ms. Boucher was referring to. However, there is longstanding precedent from the commissioner to indicate that what's happening here is lawful and there's nothing inconsistent with the application of the open meetings law. Those are the two laws that would be involved.
The law that I speak of for shared decision-making is a regulation of the New York State Commission of Education, Regulation 100.11.
I'm familiar with Regulation 100.11. I'm also familiar with decisions of the commissioner that would indicate that if there is a flaw in a process of applying the shared decision-making law, that would have to yield to the will of the Board of Education. And later today, if you'd like, I could give you the reference to the commissioner's decision that I'm referring to.
I would also like to say that this is not a time-sensitive resolution. the seat is not vacant. It does not belong on a special meeting agenda. And this is a big mistake to hold improper meetings like this.
Thank you. Ms. Boucher.
The reason I bring up shared decision-making is because it's this board policy that states what it should be comprised of. So the shared decision-making is comprised of this group of people that the board voted on July 18th, 2023 by unanimous vote. So I guess my question is, did the NTA president send out those postings for this interview?
The lead-up process to an appointment being made by a Board of Education based upon following shared decision-making law protocols is not going to govern the legitimacy of the decision-making by the board, and that's what these decisions show. And ultimately, it's the authority of the Board of Education to make these appointments, notwithstanding perhaps procedural irregularities in the shared decision-making process.
Any other discussion? Let's call the vote, please.
Roll call on 2.1. Mr. Howard,
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Ms. Bello,
No.
Ms. Boucher,
No.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Yes.
Mr. Duray.
Yes.
That item passes.
Thank you. 2.2, get a motion and a second, please.
Mr. President, before you motion this, can I just do?
So moved.
For
Second.
acknowledgement that I emailed multiple times to have public comment on this. item.
You're out of order, ma'am. You're out of order.
Can you acknowledge that I emailed multiple times to you and the clerk, or can anybody motion to acknowledge that I emailed multiple times for public comment on this?
Any discussion on 2.2?
Then I need you to be quiet.
Let's call a vote.
I emailed multiple
Roll
times.
call on 2.2. Mr. Levinstein,
Mr. Levinson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Ms. Bello,
No.
Ms. Boucher,
No.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Yes.
Mr. Duray,
Yes.
Mr. Howard.
Yes.
That item passes.
Thank you. 2.3, get a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Discussion on 2.3. Call the vote.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Ms. Bello,
No.
Ms. Boucher,
No.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Yes.
Mr. Duray,
Yes.
Mr. Howard, Mr. Levinstein.
Yes.
That item passes.
Thank you. You get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved. Second.
Please call the vote. I'm sorry, please. Go ahead.
I'd just like to make a statement that this is my intent at the 7-2 meeting to rescind what was just passed through. Thank you.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Ms. Bello. Motion to adjourn, ma'am.
Yes.
Ms. Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli, Mr. Duray, Mr. Howard, Mr. Levinstein.
Yes.
Ms. Politi.
Yes.